Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey here once again with another video on just the DC TV stuff on the CW in general, because there's some stuff to talk about. So the other day we got the announcement about all of the shows that were renewed for next season on the CW, that including a few DC shows, with some other shows still waiting for a renewal, and those are based mostly off the fact that they haven't aired their freshman seasons, whether that be as a show in general, or as a CW exclusive show. Also, just the fact that they're a bit away, so there's time for them to get renewed, there's no rush. But along with those shows, there are a couple of new DC shows on the CW in the works, with them specifically having a big couple of months ahead of them, those being Wonder Girl and Naomi. There is, of course, Painkiller, the spin-off from Black Lightning that's in the works, but that will have a backdoor pilot in Black Lightning's final season, want to say, not final 7. I'm not 100% sure when that episode is filming. I think it's episode 7 of that final season, but I'm sure we'll hear about that more in the months to come. But in this video, we are going to be going over some new information for Naomi, which potentially could burst open the doors of the multiverse again for the stuff on the CW, as well as other areas of the DC Multiverse. And we will also go over some other information that has been going around relating to the future of DC on HBO Max as well as the CW, which I would be interested in getting some feedback from you guys on. Some of you might be for it, some of you might be completely against it, and some of you might think it's actually a really good idea, which I'm sort of lining up with. But yeah, we'll get to that in soon in the video. But yeah, as I sort of hinted at then, feel free to leave all of your opinions and thoughts and anything like that in the comments section down below. I'm always curious to hear what you guys have to say. And of course, if you're going to enjoy the video, it would be awesome if you could drop a like on it to show support for the channel. So first off, they have started the casting for the new show of Naomi, which of course would include the main character of well, surprise, surprise, Naomi. Now, it's Naomi McDuffie to be specific. Now, this show is being created by Ava DuVernay, who herself has some other DC projects in the works. Now, it is not my responsibility or my right or my privilege to actually show the casting description for this, as from what I know, it's actually not publicly out there at this time that I'm making this video, and probably by the time the video goes out. However, I can break it down and paraphrase what needs to be known, and I'll still show that on the screen as well. I just can't read it out word for word, as you would say. So here we go. Naomi McDuffie, a black female in her mid to late teens in high school, is the adopted child of 2 white parents who love and adore her. Naomi is a very bright girl, as well as popular amongst all areas and cliques of her school. She is naturally confident and cool, but isn't a tryhard. She is a part of pretty much every club in high school and not scared to show her nerdy side. She is also the head of the biggest Superman fan site in the USA. She is a super mad Superman fan. Now, if you're familiar with Naomi from the comics, that description lines up with that, but if you're not, well, let's just quickly jump into that. So Naomi, the character, was born on another Earth in the multiverse. However, it was an Earth very similar to that of the main Earth that the rest of the DC heroes are on, that of course being Earth Prime. The big difference was that due to just like disregard for the environment and caring for it over many years, the ozone layer of her birth Earth, it just collapses and exposes the Earth to radiation. Now, the radiation doesn't just kill them or anything like that. It doesn't kill or actually hurt anyone, but it did give exactly 29 random people across the world access to powers, and not just ordinary powers like, oh, I can light my finger on fire or something like that. They're godlike powers. And as you'd expect, with random people getting random powers and very powerful powers, some do choose to use that to rule rather than help people. Now, there was this big war which led to various things, but the main thing was that Naomi's birth mother was actually one of the 29 people that were given powers, and none of these 29 people before had been able to produce a child until Naomi was born, which of course made her a target. Now, Naomi, through the help of her parents' friends, was brought to Earth Prime to later be discovered by Greg McDuffie, hence her having the surname of McDuffie. Now, McDuffie is actually a reference to a writer who actually passed away. He big head of the Milestone comics and stuff like that. So that's the reference there with the surname. Now, due to all of this, Naomi grew up thinking that she was just like an ordinary kid going to school and living in a quiet town and everything like that. And she'd just been adopted. No knowledge of the Earth that she was from or anything like that. Now, the villain that's sort of a thing with Naomi early on is the villain of Zumbedo, who is actually one of the 29 people that were given powers from her birth Earth. and he's like the first threat that Naomi takes on. So it wouldn't be too much of a surprise if maybe he's the threat for the show's first season, or maybe a recurring threat throughout the show's history, or show's future, might I say. And just like the character description for the show does say, in the comics, Naomi does love Superman as well, and she even gets to work with him on a couple of occasions. So could this happen on the show? Maybe. It depends whether it's actually set in the Arrowverse or not. The story does suggest that it could be, especially because she doesn't have her powers. They lay dormant. She doesn't know anything about her history. So throughout the entire history of the Arrowverse, she just could have been this normal girl. So, and maybe Crisis ties into it or something like that. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what happens there. But maybe they could tie Superman into it all. But Naomi is set to film its pilot in March. Along with some other shows as well, including the next one we'll talk about hopefully. So we'll hear about more of this in probably within the next month as they head there. Probably a casting and some other characters as well. So keep your eyes out for that, and I'll report it on the channel when it's relevant. Now, the other show, Wonder Girl, there's no news on that as of yet from what I know, but the Wonder Girl comic has been announced for May, and there's actually a short story involving the character coming in March in the DC Comics relaunch of Infinite Frontier. So you don't have to read it to, keep up with the show. Like, obviously, they're going to have their own flavor, their own take on the show. And I don't think they're going to, do exactly what the comics are doing, because then what's the point? You're just copying it. You'd be better doing your own thing, but just using the character as inspiration and just sort of, complementing each other. That's probably the best thing that they can do with those two things, the show and the comic. But I'm sure we'll hear about, Wonder Girl and the Yara Floor character and the casting and everything like that over the next month or so, as well as they head towards pilot season. Now, the other thing that's been sort of tossed around, I've heard this from a few people, and it seems to be a thing that's going to be interesting to see how it plays out in it's only like the next couple of months, it's like the next couple of years, and that's the future of the DC Multiverse on TV. Now, what's being said and thrown around the corners, hearing it through the grapevine, is that the current plan for the DC TV stuff is that HBO Max is going to be the home for the more mature or just the violence content, or in some cases expensive content. So that would line up with something like the Green Lantern show. It's too expensive. There's no way you could do it on network TV. But everything outside of that, it's the more mature content or the stuff that ties in with the movie. So like your Peacemaker and your Gotham PD and everything like that. But then you have your Titans and your Doom Patrol. And that's why Stargirl didn't go to HBO Max. That's why it's on the CW. And in regards to the CW, that's going to be the more like the young adult / family friendly stuff. So any character that doesn't need to be saying the F word every 3 seconds, or, being in a brothel or something like that, it goes to the CW and that's where it is. But they're all, sort of backed by the same people. So it's pretty much wherever certain characters fit the most. Now, this means that everything on the CW won't automatically be Arrowverse, which could tie to Wonder Girl and Naomi as well. That doesn't mean they're automatically Arrowverse like we've seen before. And just like how some things on HBO Max could be related to the DCU, but not be a spin-off or anything like that. But then again, the DC Multiverse is like a key point going forward for DC and Warner Brothers. So if you think about it, everything is connected anyway. And I'm sure we'll maybe Flashpoint might tap into that as well. But anyway, heading into 2021, 2022, it's not even like the shows that are starting now. Like when we go to like October at the end of this year, the lineup in regards to the DC shows on the CW at least, like the DC universe on the CW, could look like this, which is pretty insane considering that a lot of shows have ended recently. So we'll have The Flash, Superman and Lois, which hasn't been renewed yet, but they haven't even premiered yet. So we'll probably hear about that news soon. We'll have to wait and see. Batwoman was renewed. Legends of Tomorrow, which will most likely be its final season because it will hit 100 episodes. I think it hits it like they're like 3 or 4 episodes in, so it could actually be a short season, like only 8-10 episodes, because once you hit 100 episodes, like with a show like Legends, they'll be like, we don't need to go longer than that, so they might end after like 8 or something like that, similar to Arrow. Stargirl, which hasn't been renewed yet, but most likely will. The only thing I've heard is that apparently Atlanta filming costs are going up, and it could be a reason for the delay for renewing Stargirl as they sort that out, whether they keep it in Atlanta or not. And there's been talk that this may have been a reason why Black Lightning ended, but then again, they gave Painkiller a green light, but maybe Painkiller wouldn't have filmed in Atlanta. I don't know. So apparently Atlanta filming costs are going up, which could trouble some shows, or at least the scope of some shows. But then we have Wonder Girl, Naomi, and Painkiller, those 3 new shows. So in total, the 21-22 season of the CW in regards to DC stuff could have 8 shows, which is insane. They obviously wouldn't air it all at the same time. They'd probably split 4 at one point in the season and 4 at the other, but there's still 8 shows. So pretty crazy, especially seeing that people are saying that the Arrowverse is going to be dead in like a year or two. So obviously not. But yeah, hopefully this was somewhat insightful. Hopefully it wasn't too confusing, but if you did enjoy the video, it would be awesome if you could drop a like on it to show support. Let me know in the comments section down below your various opinions on all of this. Which show are you looking forward to most in regards to the new stuff? Is it Wonder Girl? Is it Naomi? Is it Painkiller? Let me know in the comments. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, and I will catch you guys later. Goodbye.